unstoppable. I ask you, the people, to rise up.
No matter what choices I've made or obstacles I've overcome, I continue to search for a life that eludes me.
Nick, baby. Hey, Nick, baby. I know you want to burn things with me, baby, don't you?
What the hell is happening?
Yeah, what is happening?
Did the direction of the podcast change in the last couple of weeks?
Yeah, no one told me about it.
Corey's just trying to freak me out with like Cole's horrible stripper ex-girlfriend from Infamous.
Oh man, I want to have sex with that chick so bad. Oh
no.
Yeah, I mean, you know, I make fun of people all the time for like wanting to have sex with Laura Croft or lusting over comic book characters, but damn, that chicken there's a chick in this game called Nixon. I want to fuck that girl so bad. And you know what? We'll talk about that a little bit later. But yes,
she's nasty though. You know, Christ.
That's what I love about her, man.
She's
infamously diseased.
She's been out in the swamps for too long, mate. You know, what kind of diseases is she carrying?
Oh,
you know?
man, you should see some of the bars I hang out in. They might as well be swamps. And she's much better looking than what I get on an average night. And she's crazy. That's what I love about her. But
Corey wants to fuck Yoda.
Yeah. You know what?
Swamps.
If he was the only one around for miles and we were the only two together in that little hut of his, I can make it happen. I can see that. You know what? We're talking about Infamous 2. And a lot of people love Infamous 2. I mean, if they didn't, why else would we get I'm talking about Infamous 1, rather. I'm sorry. A lot of people love Infamous 1. And why wouldn't they love Infamous 1? I mean, if they didn't, we wouldn't be having an Infamous 2 here. And Infamous was the first game that I had on my PS3. I had that special where I went to Walmart and had to like stay up all night. It was like one of those Thanksgiving Black Friday sales. I had to stay up all night with like white trash and ghetto ass people at like 5 a.m. to get my PS3. And the biggest thing that they had going with that is that they gave you 2 free games. Actually, 2 free games in a DVD. They gave you The Dark Knight, they gave you Batman Arkham Asylum, and they gave you the first Infamous. Now, I got so sucked
Nice.
in.
That's a good deal.
No, it was worth the stench of like having trailer trash and, Negroish people hanging out on me all night. But, you know,
I got Resistance and Talladega Nights with mine. I got screwed.
Dude, yeah.
You guys are lucky. I bought the PS3 at launch, so I had like Ninja Gaiden Sigma for 6 months, and that was it.
Right.
Like Mortal Kombat 2 on PSN.
Okay, y'all are making me feel so much better for hanging out at Walmart at like 5:30 in the morning. I was like, can my life like sink any lower? But apparently,
did you really stay there all night, or did you just like accidentally get dropped off there after the bar, and you're like, where am I?
Who usually makes extra money giving handies out behind the Walmart? So,
and I figured while I'm there, I might as well take advantage of the moment. Actually, Kevin, you make a joke, but you're right. I was hanging out with a friend, and we got drunk that night and wanted to keep hanging out. And my friend said, "I want to pick up something for my wife at this Black Friday special." And I was just like, okay. And we
you're tailgating at Walmart. Is that what you're doing here? Hibachi out.
that is awesome.
Yeah, I did. And the only reason why I bought that PS3 because I was waiting inside and I was like, well, shit, I'm here, I'm sober, I might as well buy something to make it worth my while. So I bought the PS3. And I got so sucked into Arkham Asylum that I didn't pay a whole lot of attention to Infamous. I played it for a little bit and didn't really finish the game. But I did like what I was playing. And now that we're on to like Infamous 2, not even having finished the game, I see some improvements that I like over the previous one, which made it an overall better experience for me. And where I didn't really want to like play through the rest of Infamous, even though I know how many people love that game. This game was really sucking me in, man. Now I'm here with Professor Jeff. Hello, Jeff. Hey, how you doing? Okay. I'm here with Jason, the Murph.
Hey, what's up? I just want to get this off my chest real quick.
Yes.
I'm going to kick Jeff in the nuts next time I see him because he assigns which games we play. And if there's and I guess I'm too easy about it. Like, yeah, whatever, I'll play, whatever. You guys get to play Infamous 2, and I was playing Red Faction Armageddon. God damn it.
Oh, you hated Red Faction?
I didn't like it.
Well, hey, I guess we don't have to do a review for that now. We already know what that game is all about. Oh,
But anyway,
I actually preferred Red Faction to Infamous, to be honest.
I heard Jeff's voice, and I just wanted to kick him in the balls. So continue.
But you got plenty of opportunities next week.
Yeah, you do. Yeah, we're all going to be together next week. But, by the way, come and meet me behind the Walmart, Jason. I'll make it all nice for you. You'll be okay.
Do I have to wear the mask?
No, I want to see your face this time. And I'll make it good for you, baby. I'm here with Nicky Poo. Oh, they're talking trash. How you doing, Nick?
Doing all right, yep.
Crush any good ass lately?
No, not yet.
Not yet. But look at it. He's ready. He's like, next week, though. It's on. And finally.
He's hitting the Walmart full steam.
Oh, hell yeah, man. You're first, though, mate. So.
I do. I got dibs. And last, but certainly not least, is my man Kevin Bear. Kevin, hey, man.
Hey, I'm still glad we're doing a show. I was starting to worry after a while, like that we might not ever do this again. It's been a while. It's been like a couple of weeks.
You know what? We couldn't do anything because, the commander-in-chief was gone, Mr. Professor Jeff. He was doing E3.
That's right.
Yeah, and very good job with that, by the way, I must say, Jeff. We'll talk about it in more detail when we do a longer email show, but we had some really good numbers come in for that E3. I guess our streams and podcasts that we had, so that whole feature did as well. So welcome back, Jeff.
So that means I can go to TGS this year as well?
Don't get greedy, goddammit. Don't push me, man. All right. Not to get too far away from the subject at hand here. We are talking about Infamous 2. And Infamous 2, listen, you can play the game without knowing a whole lot about the story. I mean, I guess it's more of a richer experience if you do. So if you're just jumping into Infamous 2, you're going to miss a lot of details because they don't take any time. They're just telling you about the first game. They're like, motherfucker, if you missed it, you just missed it now. We can't do everything for you. But in this one, it picks up. What are you saying there, Jeff?
Well, actually, I was thinking it actually works better if you haven't played Infamous. Because
how's that?
Well, you think about the way that the story of Infamous goes. I mean, I got to all the way to the end of Infamous 2 and kind of had to go back and it doesn't really work very well. Like the continuity doesn't flow very well. It's obvious that they made Infamous and they left all these plot threads hanging off to have a big cliffhanger ending, and then they were like, shit, how are we going to fix this? And kind of ignored some stuff and just put Infamous 2 together. So.
Yeah, I could kind of see that. I mean, even though I didn't finish the first game, but for those of you who do, if you're like me, you just jump into the second game and don't know a lot about the last one. Now, me having played a little bit, I know that it centers on a character named Cole McGrath, who was living in Empire City when we have something called this mysterious ray sphere come down and destroy the city somewhat. There are people alive. There are people still left. The city's kind of somewhat intact, except that the people who have survived, some of them have come out with these powers. And Cole McGrath is one of those guys. He comes out with these electrical powers that allows him to shoot blasts from his hands and kind of surf on telephone wires and power lines and all that kind of stuff. Well, with these new powers, we open up with the second game. And this is where I got lost. I don't know what the fuck was going on. When it came up, all I know is the game opened with some giant flaming turd man called the Beast, who has a hard-on for Cole, and Cole has to try to defeat him. Cole gets the shit kicked out of him. He gets his ass beat down and has to retreat to a southern town called, what is it, New Malai?
New Orleans, yeah.
Basically it's New Orleans. He has to go to the equivalent of an alternate universe of New Orleans, New Marai. And he gets there to kind of build up his powers so that he can face off with the Beast again and defeat
or to
him.
Get his drink on.
And
but he has to collect beads to power up.
They don't even disguise that as New Orleans. There's a cutscene where you see him jumping around underwater when it's been flooded.
There's a whole section of the game where it's where it's flooded out, and they talk about how they all got flooded out. And it's kind of from the number of things that piss people off about video games, I was kind of surprised that I'd never hear anything about that.
I know, because the whole thing is Katrina hit, and instead of people suffering and dying, people got superpowers. And by the way, and they kept partying. By the way, they're still going. Yeah, there's a feature in the game where you build up your powers by how many titties you get to see throughout the city. So
that's how my powers work.
That's mine too. Girl, I'm gonna die and exhaust myself if I don't see your titties right now. Please help me. But when you
I'm just seeing that animation that Cole gets when he's like sucking electricity out of something, but just like copping the biggest feel and then like,
oh yeah,
double D.
Power up. Now that's not the biggest part of his trouble, because the Beast, even though he kind of half defeated the Beast, tore his face off, but the Beast said, "Okay, I'm gone right now. Okay, you got me, but I'll be back." So you kind of have to, like, they tell you how many miles away the Beast is, and they say, hey, the Beast is coming. He's about 1,000 miles away. You better get your ass ready. And so while you're trying to build up your powers and defeat this huge creature in New Orleans, whatever, that's not only your problem right there. Turns out that New Mariah has been taken over by these redneck assholes called the militia, headed up by this old dude named Bertrand, who has like this. He has this vendetta against all the mutants that are out there, all of the people now with superpowers. He wants to protect the city against them. But really what they want to do is they want to cleanse the city. You know, first they're going to start with the mutant people, and then they're going to get to the Jews and blacks, and you know how this is going to go. It's not going to be good. So Cole has to not only restore New Mariah.
Cleaning up the city, because if it's New Orleans, I mean, geez, get some 409 and some bleach wipes.
Yeah. So he also has to clean up the city with a mop and some 409. But so that as you can see, Cole has a lot on his hands here, and this game it kind of retains one of the best features of what we saw in the first Infamous. You got to clean up the town. Now you can do that by either being nice to people and having people be on your side and going around the city and doing nice deeds by stopping muggings, defusing bombs, stopping the militia from rounding people up and killing them, or you can just go out there and do a bunch of evil shit and have people just scared into submission. You know, just doing what you say because they don't want to get hurt by you. So
some of these things aren't even evil; they're just dickish. Like some guy tells you, like, "Oh, I don't like musicians on the streets. Why don't you, shoot them or something?" It's like, dude, you
murder them. Come on.
Hey, I like jazz music. All right, leave me alone.
Man, that is true. Somebody told me, like, some random dude too, and they give you a chance to do it. Some random dude just comes up out of everybody in the city. Just one dude says, "You know what? I don't like music. I don't like these people playing horns and drums around the city. Can you silence them?"
It's Zeke. It's like your buddy. He calls you on the radio like it's some kind of like crucial mission. He's like, "Hey, Cole, you hate bucket drummers, right? Why don't you murder them?" And you're like,
see, if it was a Peruvian flute band, I would definitely do it. But
it was a polka band, but
yeah. I think I would go after tubas and accordions if it was me. So I can kind of understand where Cole is coming from and Zeke where they're coming from. But there was one guy that I felt shitty because I was going to the city doing that. I was like, all right, you know what? I'm going to aim carefully and hit the bucket or the saxophone. And there was one dude, he hit a note and it just went up in the air like, blah! He got in the way of my sight and I killed him. And I felt shitty for that. It's like, you have silenced the saxophone player. And I was like, I didn't mean to do that. And I went over and like, wake up, man. Come on, man. Play me a song. I didn't mean to do it.
Man, you get a call from Zeke. This hot dog vendor didn't give me enough ketchup. He wouldn't give me an extra pack. Kill them all.
Like, isn't there a beast coming? Aren't we supposed to prepare for that?
Yeah. What I like about the game, I'm going to let you guys go ahead and get into it. What I like about this game is that I love the world that they created more than Empire City. With New Malai, they kind of mix it in with the debauchery of New Orleans, so it is kind of the scummy, dirty feeling to it. But also, they kind of bring in, just to a minimum, that whole feeling of like Southern voodoo and all that kind of stuff. So there's a lot of eerie swamp areas in this that I like a lot. So a lot of more variety added to that whole sandbox feeling of the game. I also like the powers that Cole has built up. I mean, you can start the game saying, do you want to bring all of your powers from Infamous 1 into this game? So if you've done that, you can start out with a lot. And I like that. Who's disagreeing with me with a sigh?
No. Yeah, I was just thinking my PS3 died about 4 or 5 months ago, and I had to get a new one. And I knew there was going to be some kind of import for this game, and I just totally lost it because all my old save games are just gone.
You know what? It didn't really count. I mean, I tried to import from my previous. I played Infamous 1. It didn't really count to jack shit. I think all it does is it kind of imports some of the decisions you may have made in Infamous 1. So I was a good guy in Infamous 1. So I don't think it imports your powers. I mean, like, my powers weren't amazing when I started Infamous 2. So I don't think it really matters.
Yeah. It just if you were a good guy in the first one, like he was saying, it makes you a good guy, and based on your level of goodness, it says you're level 1 good guy. I mean, it's kind of dumb.
Yeah, it doesn't add a whole lot to the game, but you can bring in somewhat. So I mean, if you've made some progress in the first one, then for what it's worth to you, you can bring a little bit over into the second one. I didn't have a whole lot of progress either, so maybe it didn't make too much of a difference for me. I found it a little bit. It's funny because I found it a little bit easier to go around the city in this game more than I did in the first one, but at the same time, I found the controls a little bit too loose for my liking, but I'd rather have loose controls like that other than, like really hard, slow tank kind of movement. So going around this world gives you a lot of ways to get around. Like I said, you can either run around the city, or you can do parkour and climb around the city, or you can jump on like electrical wires and kind of like surf those around the city. So it's a cool way to explore this open sandbox world. Any other thoughts on the game?
I was kind of disappointed with, in the first Infamous, they had these little comic book cutscenes that they would go away to that gave you kind of like a good or evil choice that you could do that would add to like your overall, infamy, for lack of a better term. But they weren't always so clear cut. Like it was, I remember very early on in Infamous 1, there's a decision where they say you can keep this food for yourself and it'll make, your little camp better, or you can give it away to other people who definitely need it. And in this one, the moral decisions were much more just kind of like, well, do you want to save puppies or eat babies? I mean, it's up to you. Whatever you want to do.
Pretty much, yeah.
And I kind of missed those little comic book cutscenes because Infamous 1 was very much kind of like a comic book video game, and Infamous 2, the story was very much like that, but they just took out a lot of the actual cutting away to the comic book looking stuff.
Do you think they did that because it was getting in the way of the action of the first game, so they just kind of cut back? They're like, okay, we already established that, now we want this game to go a little faster?
I don't know. I mean, I think that when the thing is that those particular decisions added to your good or evil meter, and by taking them out, the only things in the game that really add to that meter are what you were just talking about, stopping the muggings or doing that stuff. So you end up doing those little side missions just over and over and over again, kind of in the beginning to build that meter.
Jason, you didn't play the game. Never mind. You go to hell. Kevin, you really, Kevin, you really liked the first Infamous, because I remember saying like I like it, but I'm not crazy about it. And you were like, hey, I think it's one of the best games that came out that year.
It's one of the best superhero games there is. I mean, I like the feeling that you can jump around on the buildings, and it's very lenient. Like if you're going to jump towards a wire, you're pretty much going to make it. It's not going to be one of those situations where you're going to be like, oh, I was just like a little bit too far away and I fell to my death or something. I mean, you can constantly like jump up to the top, hit the ground really hard, and you have like an arsenal of powers. You can pick cars up now and throw them at people and everything. I mean, you feel like a superhero. You can go anywhere in the city and stuff. And I mean, yeah, there's a lot of like boss battle stuff and some of this, I don't know, some of these choices that you have to make all the time. Like, do you want to give the guy CPR or eat his soul? It's kind of like, I don't know.
Like, what the fuck do you think, Infamous 2?
It's just, I just find the whole dynamic of it a lot of fun. And I mean, I like that Cole has a bit of a personality to him, like he seems like a regular guy kind of thing. He's not just some cutout superhero type of dude.
I like that about the game. I will say I like the voice acting much better than I do in the first game. They traded out voices for Cole. He replaced a guy named Jason Cottle. They replaced him with a guy named Eric Layden. And Eric Layden sounds just a little more down to earth than what Cole McGrath sounded like in the first game. Because Cole, look, that's one of the things
really?
I really, man, I hate. And I'm not saying he sounds fully down to earth, but I hated his voice in the first game. I hated actually. You have some characters return from the first game. You have Cole and his buddy Zeke, what we just mentioned. And Zeke was too much of a rockabilly Elvis kind of impersonator guy. And
he isn't in this game.
He is, but they toned down a little bit for me. I don't know, maybe I'm just used to him. But Cole, I have to say, in the first game, he was going around talking about, Empire City was destroyed. I have these mysterious powers. What am I going to do? And I'm like, motherfucker, you are a bike messenger. You're not Batman, all right? We don't need this voice right here. And
Here's your package.
Sign here.
In this one, he sounds like an inbred, redneck, white trash motherfucking hillbilly, you know?
Who, Cole?
This guy, yeah.
Cole
He
sounded like a
drives me-
redneck?
Yeah, he's a redneck.
Boy, you British
drives
people
me
really don't know
bonkers.
American accents.
I really can't stand this guy's voice.
Damn. So what is does Batman
Wait a
sound? I was about to say, does Batman sound like Jethro from the Beverly Hillbillies to you? Because I mean, because Cole sounds nothing like a hillbilly.
What kind of accent is it then? Because it sounds southern to me.
It's what we call Batman here in America. There's an, it's an actual.
Got a really strong Batman accent. You know?
Okay.
My parents are Batman. My uncle was a Batman.
Talking about Electric Man, all right? So I actually prefer the guy from Infamous 1 to this. And it's really funny because the way his character was originally going to be, like in the preview trailers, I remember there's a big controversy because they made him have some waxed up hair gel and he had like fucking beads on his neck and people were pissed off because he looked like one of those pretentious art students going on their gap year. And then they instead did the exact opposite, where they shaved his head and gave him like a redneck hillbilly accent.
So okay, I don't hear the hillbilly accent. I don't know, but let me just say I like this character better in this game than I liked in the last one. Obviously, you disagree. I don't know. Let's talk to the expert here, Jeff, Kevin. What do you guys think about that?
It's been so long since I played the first Infamous that I couldn't really identify. I mean, I thought that they made some changes to the character's face that looked a little strange. I never really thought that Cole had a whole hell of a lot of personality. I mean, he's just a kind of generic stand-in for the player. I mean, he's able to rationalize anything and he'll kind of go along with whatever, and I don't know.
I don't like him.
Well, I was actually...
Well, yeah, I mean, if you're sitting there saying, kill the jazz musicians, he's like, yep, all right, whatever, man.
Yeah,
Sure.
exactly.
What's your name, boy?
What's your name, boy?
Boy, I sound like now. Do I sound like Cole?
Boy,
to you?
I said boy.
Boy, I'll say there, boy. Kevin, what you think about this here Cole McGrath in this game, sir?
Yeah, I mean, like I said, I like the character. I mean, I can understand the complaints about it, but I mean, it's not a guy in tights running around. It's a guy that I can kind of relate to, and maybe it's a little bit simple. I don't know if he should be like reading Shakespeare and like reciting things on things, or like V for Vendetta making big speeches. I mean, it is a superhero game, but he's got a sidekick, and the other people in the game, and I don't know. I mean, I just like it. I don't know how else to vocalize it. It's just
I'm kind of caught in the middle between you guys. Like, I like the guy. The guy actually is like resonated with a lot of players out there. I mean, people lost their shit when they said they're going to change him, so they wanted that other Cole back. But for the most part, I do agree that these mostly are just they're not there's not a great deal of personality to a lot of the characters in the game. I think that's why I like the character of Nyx. One of the new characters they introduced in this game is this chick who's a native of the town, who is just fucking
Is she
nuts.
Jamaican or Haitian? Where's she from? I can't figure out.
She's Creole, man.
Creole.
Yeah.
She is a bad idea machine in that game.
See what? Whoa, Cole McGrath. I'm a fan.
Where'd you get that?
Off one of these fools. Thought it was kind of pretty. What? You like pretty?
Yeah, big.
Ah, saw yours. All you gotta do is help me break a few crackers.
Oh, yeah, 'cause you look like a real damsel in distress.
It ain't about needing help. I just want a little company. My name's Nyx.
All right, Nyx. Lead the way.
All right.
She is like, every time you got to do something, you're like, hey, why don't we need to get these guys on our side. Like, you've got the good and evil choice, and the good choice is like, let's bring them medicine, and the evil choice is like, let's kill a whole bunch of them and then tell them we'll stop if they join up with us.
Yeah. She is nuts. Every idea that she has is, let's blow up shit, man. Let's set them on fire, man. It's like, you want to set the people who are innocent on fire as well as the evil people? Yeah, man, as long as it's burning. Awesome. Yeah, I love crazy chicks. I want to have so much sex with this non-existent character. It's not even funny. She goes around wearing like these like she has these tight leather pants on, these crazy tattoos, wearing the shirt that just barely covers up her nipples, and then she has like this crazy like Jolly Rancher dreaded hair, and I was like, man, these are the kind of crazy chicks I love. I mean, maybe I'm attracted to this because I've woken up and chicks have set my place on fire, so I'm all right.
She looks like she could have just come out of a meth lab, dude.
So Corey's like, so I can meet a chick like this in a meth lab? Do you know where there's a meth lab around here?
Yeah. Why, Nick? You know where there's one? But I don't know, man.
Maybe that's one of the problems that I had with Cole is that every time that Nick's brought this shit up, like any normal sane human being would have been like, "Bitch, you are insane. Get the fuck out of here!" And then he's like, "Oh, let's calm down and consider all points of view."
I know he does do that. That's why I'm not like crazy into the character because. When
they first meet, he goes, "Looks like you and I have the same things in common." It's like, what do you mean you have the same things in common?
I mean, but they're like, in order to give you this choice of going good or evil, they have to make the character in the cutscenes kind of have a generic point of view about things. So when you have one character say, "Hey, we should like rescue the hostages so they'll be on our side," and she's like, "No, let's set them all on fire and just scare people into working for us." You sit up there and you say, that fire thing would work. But at the same time, and it's like, well, he has no real feeling or compassion about whatever it is that he's making a decision for. So that is a problem for me.
He's like, well, I am against senseless murder, but she does have nice titties. Maybe she's got a point.
And hey, you got to power up somehow, right? As we've mentioned before. So it seems like a natural choice right there. Go ahead, Jeff.
I was going to say, I think that the whole morality system brings up kind of the weird limitation of the plot in this game. Because in the first game, you destroyed a big chunk of Empire City and everybody was pissed off at you. So you could either, punish them into fearing you, or you could try to earn back the trust of the city. Whereas when you come to New Marais, you're really just a guy. So there really isn't as much incentive there isn't as much incentive to be good or evil in this game, I thought, as there was in the last game, because it isn't so intimately tied to the plot like it was in the first game.
Yeah, I can see that. They've done a lot of things in the game to kind of keep you interested. I mean, in addition to the replay value with the morality choices you have here, they've also introduced some other things in here. There's some user-generated content, UGCs, in here, which gives the people playing the game online a chance to create their own missions, and you'll see those indicated by characters with yellow exclamation points above their heads. That's content that are missions that a user has created, and you can accept those missions, or you can create missions on your own. I didn't have time to get into it. I actually looked into like trying to make my own mission, and it's not easy. It takes a little bit of time. But what they do in the game is, like, if you want to spend the time with it, you actually can have the best missions kind of rise to the top eventually. So they have that there. And also the game gets easier the more side missions you accept, then you make the game a little easier for you. There's these blue blast cubes around the game that if you collect those, you build up your energy and makes the game easier for you too. So it does give you a lot of replay value in that sense. I think my only problem with the game, and keep in mind, I'm not the hardest of the hardcore gamers out there, but I didn't find the game terribly difficult. I mean, yeah, there's some things that you have to like do over and over again. You're gonna die, but I didn't find it all that challenging. I found it more fun in the exploration and learning the powers and just seeing some of the cool monsters they introduce as far as like the giant bosses and everything that you have. I thought that was kind of cool, but I don't know. Maybe the game I didn't get all the way to the end, so maybe the game gets extremely hard at that point. Jeff would be the one to tell us that.
No, not really. I mean, the thing is that they keep basically amping up what every time. I mean, because over the course of the game, you're looking to get a certain number of the blast cores in order to power up this device to let you basically get into the game. And every time you use one of those blast cores, you get a new power. And so by the end of the game, they're giving you, I mean, you're just so overpowered. You've got so many different powers that it gets to be really easy. Especially after about 2/3 of the way through the game, you get a chance to fuse your powers with another power. Mm-hmm. And once that happens, the game just starts getting retarded easy, because not only do you have your electricity powers, but now they have like this other boost to them, so that you're not only electrocuting people, but you're also setting them on fire or whatever.
Yeah.
I mean, the one thing I'll speak to that, though, is the fact that, like, you're a superhero. You're supposed to be powerful. If everybody could hand you your ass, then what good would be all these powers? You know, you go outside, get hit with a frying pan, you go down, game over. I mean, you got to be tough. I mean, that you want to feel that way when you're playing a superhero.
Otherwise, your hero name would be Ass-Handed Man, and you don't want to be that guy.
Definitely, and I don't want to make it sound like as I say that it was a complaint, because I mean, even at the upper levels of the game, even when you're that powerful, if you mess around, like if you just stand in front of 20 enemies that are all shooting at you, you'll die really quickly. It's just the game keeps giving you more and more tools to deal with the larger and larger groups. So by the end of the game, there is a really serious sense of power.
That's the thing with a lot of games where you level up, is that the challenge never really changes. You know, it's all like, okay, well, you have better weapons. Well, now we're going to put you up against better enemies. And so it's always at this consistent level on a lot of games. And I'm sure it's a hard line to walk. But, I mean, I think RPGs are a lot like that, because every now and then I'm like, I have worked so hard. Can't I just kick some ass?
And you know what? I will agree with you on that sense that, you know, when you level up more in a game, and this kind of game is not, they don't make it impossible. I mean, for people who are used to having a difficulty setting in their games, there's none here. So you don't get to have like insane, zealot, impossible type level where you want to feel like a man because you did something crazy in the game. No, it's like one setting there. It's good enough to enjoy the game. If you're looking, I mean, if you're just that insane about a game, you're that good enough of a gamer, it might be a little simple for you. Me, I found it enjoyable. It was challenging enough to make it fun. It's like when you put too much spice in the food and you can't taste the food. You know what I mean? It's like here, it was just challenging enough to where I could enjoy the game. Maybe I would have, if I was into the game more, maybe I'd want a harder level, but I got what I needed out of it. I will say this, though. They do make it hard in a way that probably isn't meant to make it hard. Like, I like to play the hero in the game, so I wasn't going around fucking with people. You know, I wasn't going around trying to be a supervillain. I did the right thing. My mama taught me well, so I went around the city and did what I was supposed to do, help people. But the more you help people, the more people will fight for you. And I know Jeff said, he mentioned something to me that he had a problem with the game, and I got that too. There's a point where the people just turn into a mob for you. And not only are they running in front of you, but they're just going crazy. And the game has a way of, it's the AI in the game. So there was one guy that they had on the ground, and these people were just over this guy, just shooting him. It was a mob of people, and I just stood in the background. I was like, he's dead already. Stop it. Stop it. But they get in the way when you try to like if there's certain bosses, when you try to kill them, the people will get in the way. Jeff, what was that thing that you had? That problem?
yeah. One of the mutants in the game is this giant, like 1-story tall, like armored beast, and you know, I was just tearing up downtown New Marais, trying to throw in cars at it, and stuff's exploding everywhere. And out of the side of my vision, this house, this like looks like a 30-year-old housewife, like runs up and starts punching this huge beast in the legs, like, yeah, go Cole, we're with you. And it was like, bitch, get out of here, man.
Yeah, there is a point where like you just have to like kind of just stop and let people move out the way, or you can just do what I did one time and just said, fucking, I just dropped a car on somebody. I just like, man, I'm not villainous here, but you ain't helping me out. So
after I beat the game, I went back to try to get the alternate, the evil ending. So I went to downtown New Marais, and I basically just started murdering people, as many people as I could find, to try to get my karma down to negative. And I must have spent about 2 hours yesterday just rampantly killing civilians, and I only got to the lowest level of being a hero. So, you know, in the end of the day, you can really kill a lot of innocent bystanders. It doesn't really
Were they like, that's okay, we know you didn't mean it?
Well, no, the funniest thing was when you go up and like,
deserved it.
Punch somebody in the face with your giant tuning fork, and then like other people would run up and start cheering and taking pictures because that's what the karma system told them to do.
People just watching you just murder people, like, hey, that's cool, take a picture, I'm gonna put this on YouTube. But
look, it's cool, woo,
yeah, man. Now I guess when you take all this into account, it's a good game. If you like the first Infamous, I think that they added a lot more here that's going to make you enjoy the game even more. So if that's the case, this is a game you should definitely go out and buy. However, as I said, the challenge in the game is not necessarily all that high. It's more of an exploration game than it is anything else, an open sandbox game. So if you're into exploring the world and you want to spend a lot of time replaying that value, again, it's worth the buy. But if you're looking for a challenge, if you're just that hardcore and you're not worried about exploring this world, then you might want to go ahead and just rent this game, like on GameFly or something, and just return it, because I don't know if it's going to be the game that's for you. Kevin, go ahead.
I mean, I think it's a full price game, but I mean, it is the second one. You've probably played the first one by now because it's part of the PlayStation welcome back gift. There's like that and a bunch of crap you don't want, so you probably downloaded Infamous and you have it now. So, I mean, go out, if you like it, then you'll probably like this one. If you didn't like it, there's not enough here, I think, that it's going to make you like it more than, it does feel like a sequel. So, I mean, I say it's full price.
Okay.
I'd say that I had fun playing this, but to be honest, it's pretty easily to forget. It's pretty forgettable for me. Like, I wasn't missing it when I wasn't playing it, but once I started playing it, then I was like, oh, this is quite fun. I'm like chucking cars at giant crab creatures and stuff. So I'd say wait for it to drop down in price.
Okay.
Personally, I thought that it was decent enough, but there was just some stuff that it's like they took out of the first game, like the whole like stunt system and some of the comic stuff. There's just a lot of stuff in here that I kind of missed from the first game, and it's by no means a bad game, but I don't think I'd give it more than about a rental. Either that or just a real low buy, like if you could find it on sale. Just because, I mean, I don't know if the user generated content isn't quite there yet, so maybe that's going to fill in the gaps so that once you finish the game, you have something else to do. But, I mean, there was some stuff in this game that I was really disappointed with. Like, there were places where you would see, like, water effects that were horribly pixelated around the edges, some graphical stuff that just didn't look very good. And, I mean, it was a good game.
Jeff is hard, man.
I know Jeff is. Wow, Jeff is so sweet when we see him in every other area except for playing games. He just becomes like jaded, angry, a monster. I mean, Jesus, there's no pleasing you, Jeff.
No, I say people should play this game, but I don't think it's worth $60.
Jeff, do we have to put your hand on some breast and recharge you right now because you are so hard on this game?
You know what I think part of it might have been is that I just came off of L.A. Noire and I've been hearing coal, and now it's coal, and all I could think of was, why wasn't this coal in L.A. Noire? I could have really got some shit done in L.A. Noire if I had this guy.
All right, tell me the truth. Do I need to shock the shit out of you?
Yeah.
I will electrocute your ass.
But some shit never changes. Well, maybe some things.